What's up, guys? You're tuned in to the Off Limits podcast, the one conversation where nothing is off limits. And I'm your host, Joyce. Today, we are back, season 2, and we are joined by...
Bimpe!
Hey, you're back. You're back.
I'm back.
But you said you'd come back. It's been a while, but you came back.
I'm coming back. Crap. I'm here for a while. We haven't told them, have we?
Haven't told them what's happening.
What's cooking?
But yeah, I feel like people just like really excited because after the colorism video that you did, like that's actually one of like the most organically growing videos that you did. And I just feel like you just got some sauce to add to the conversation.
No. I'm with you. That's why I'm with you. Okay.
But yeah, do you want to like give people like a reminder or a refresher about like who you are, what you're doing, or what you feel like sharing?
Okay. Hey guys. So I'm Bimpe. Some people know me as Elizabeth. My name's Bimpe. Yeah, my name's Elizabeth.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know because some people they get confused. Elizabeth Bimpe. Yeah, whatever. Call me whatever. So I'm the founder and managing director of Bridge Build Aspire, which is a growing educational company who will change the education system in our own unique way.
The sauce, wow.
Yeah, so like no settling anymore. But so I work with young people, particularly students, and just helping students not fall through the gap. I feel like the education system has been built with gaps that a lot of students fall into, and in particular BAME students who don't know how to navigate the education system. And I feel like education is really important, and I think people always think, okay, cool, we've got education, it's free, that's cool, but some people aren't actually able to maximize off the education system in the UK. Some people just, for example, I was someone who nearly fell through the gap. I nearly got kicked out of school and it was all crazy, but we'll talk about that later. But that's why I started BBA. Along that, I'm doing a placement in finance. So, has my placement at uni. I'm at uni.
That going?
That's going. It's going. It's going. It'll be part of this podcast, but it's growing. I did it on purpose. I'm not enjoying it. Yeah. But I did it to teach myself
like what it's actually like.
What it's like to work for someone, but what it's like, because now I've actually started to go deeper in my business. I'm now doing more things. I'm spending more money. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm risking it all whilst working. So I'm doing a 9 to 5, then I'm doing another 5 to 9.
And then trying to balance both of that and make it work with what you're,
and then you've got everything, purpose, church, this, that. But I'm grateful. I'm very grateful.
I love it. So today we are discussing all things purpose and our journey. And I feel like as soon as, we decided that you're coming back. Yeah. You're coming back onto the podcast. I was just like, do you know what?
We're stuck now.
We're stuck together now. So I feel like it's a good way for us even to like know a bit more about ourselves. Because we met in uni, innit? But I feel like in uni, you meet people. Don't be silly.
Oh my God.
But I feel like, do you know what it is? I feel like when you meet people in uni, like you click and stuff, but at the same time, you don't know like them from Adam. So at the same time, as much as this is a way of people getting to know us a bit, it's also kind of us getting to know each other a bit.
And
like when you drop, my name's Elizabeth, I went, house way, sis, house way. Like,
I didn't know that, but yeah.
Defo. But I don't know, I feel like a good place to start. I feel like I'm doing Q&A now. Like, where were you born?
We're going to do each other. We've got this.
Where were you born? In London?
I was born in London, Camberwell to be precise.
Oh,
but
man.
South. Yeah, I know where you're from, Joyce. What about you?
I was born in Tottenham, actually.
Okay.
People don't know. I was born in Tottenham, but I grew up in Northwest.
Okay, so you guys moved down here?
Yeah, like I feel, but I was like really young.
Okay.
Like there's bits and bobs, like I'm familiar with Tottenham, but I don't like claim it like that.
Do you go back?
Not if I don't have to, sis. No.
Okay.
Like no.
Okay. No to Tottenham.
Like if it's like an event or something there, then I'll go.
Okay.
But I thought even like with the whole, so that's kind of like basic. But with the whole idea of like purpose and journey, the first thing that comes to me is because I feel like people, especially now with like social media and everything, we're so used to seeing like a finished product of things.
Girl.
Like everything looks like a finished product and it's just like, but wait, but how did you get there? Like I need a step by step kind of thing. And it's only, I feel like half the time you only hear like what happens once they've already reached the other side. And that's all like well and good, but it makes it seem like it's so far off, like farther like, I don't know how to explain it. You know, when someone's going through something at the same time as you, you kind of feel like you're in it together. But when someone's telling you about something that happened to them 10 years ago, like when your parents even, like, they explain to you, oh, when I was your age, this happened to me. It's but that was such a long time ago that you can't possibly
times
understand.
Are different.
Yeah, it's like times are different. I can't put into practice what you're telling me to put into practice because everything's completely different. But I feel like there's like so much power in like telling people about your journey kind of as you're going. As
you
you're
said it.
Going into it, basically. So
I agree, because I feel like that's why I wanted to do this topic, especially where we are, because we're nowhere where we want to be.
100%.
But I think I can say to you, and you can probably say to me, we've done something. I feel like even from, I remember when we had our coach journey. Remember the coach journey and walking home, you were telling me, telling me about your job, call center. Yeah, girl, I don't forget. Remember,
your memory's A1.
I don't forget. And
that
I just
call center.
Like, I know, but part of the journey, just looking back from there and where you, especially where you are now, it's just like, do you know what I mean? And if I didn't know you, this girl's come, she's done a,
that's
do you
the
know
thing,
what I mean?
Yeah. Like, that's one thing that drives me mad as well, because you never realize that how much people are like working underneath, like are grafting behind the scenes until you hear them like one to one.
Definitely.
Like, I feel I love that saying in a sense where it's like, don't tell, like, you should be like a duck on water. Like, you know how they just like, they look like they're floating on top, but underneath there's like mad work going on.
Wow.
But sometimes I let people peek and see like the mad work.
Honestly, I think
if I was to ask you, what is it that made you personally decide to start BBA? Bridgeport Aspire.
What made me okay, so this is more about me and my journey. So when I was young, I feel like probably from primary school, I've just been quite angry and upset. So I didn't grow up with my dad in the house. I wouldn't say that played a role, but I was speaking to my friend yesterday and I was like, you can't really say something hasn't played a role because you're not conscious to it. Do you know what I mean? You're not conscious of how it made you feel, especially from a young age. These things are built into you, but you're not watching it. You're just getting more angry. You know what I mean? And because you're so stuck in your ways, you don't assess or look back and like, oh, this is why. Yeah. But I was really, really naughty. Like, from primary school, I was always getting into trouble, but it wasn't that bad. It was just the odd times I would get in trouble. Then I got to secondary school, so I went to Lara Trey in Balham, not too far from it actually. Yeah. But and I was just really naughty, and I feel like life happened. There was just so many things.
What do you say, like on a scale of what? Because I feel like different
on a scale. Oh my gosh, I would say a 9, a 9 if I'm being nice. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I could say a 10 because I had no boundaries. Like, people see me now and I'm like, oh, like I was really, they don't believe it. But I was really rude. But at the same time though, like and it reflects, like, I was actually very nice. So like, if I saw someone who was hurt or I felt like someone was being like mistreated, like, no, like, you can't do that. Oh no, believe in yourself. But when it came to teachers, education, I did not care. Like, I didn't care at all. Yeah, I was just very, like, when I look back, the best way to say it, I was just lost, but lost in everything. Education, tell me what I learned from like year 7 to year 9. I can't necessarily tell you, but there were moments, like for example, biology, I had a really good teacher and she'd always be like, wow, like, oh, Miss Tamara, she'll be like, wow, like this homework is good. I'm just looking at it like, okay. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I didn't even put that much effort, but in those little things, it was encouraging. But then I feel like because I grew up and I started to hang around with people who were older than me. So I was in like year 8 hanging around with year 10s. Okay. And then they weren't really good year 10s.
Okay, cool. That's them ones.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? They weren't positive role models. They weren't bad, but I wouldn't want my child to hang around. My mum was very busy. Like, she's a single parent.
But I was going to say, like, was she aware of...
Do you know what? I don't think she was. She has aware English. I don't think she was aware of how deep it was. And I also feel like my secondary school didn't make that much of an effort to communicate. There were moments when my head teacher was like, "You're not going back to lesson until your mum comes in." So she had to know. But then I don't think she knew everything. But yeah, and then eventually, I think it was getting to the point where they were like, you're going. Do you get what I mean? And I think there was a phase of people getting kicked out and sent to centre. And I had met people from centre, especially there was a centre near where we were in Lambeth, and like I knew people died there. Like I was just like in the centre.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It was like once you get to that centre, because you're surrounded by people who are like you. Do you know what I mean? It's just like me and you. We hang around so much. If we hang around more, probably do more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I was like, no, that's not where I really want to go. So I kept on getting threatened, and a teacher was like, you're gonna go there for a day because you're just not getting it. Like, yeah. So then,
but I feel like with that, do you think? I feel because it's good intentions behind it, because it's not like she's trying to completely disregard you. She just learn your lesson. Like, this is where you can end up if you carry on.
So then after that, I don't know what I did, but like, I don't know, I was just naughty. I just got in trouble. And then this teacher was like, okay, cool. Do you know what? I think you should meet this lady, which was like a learning mentor in my school, like a behavioural learning mentor, Miss Chambers. And I was like, I went into the office, my face was screwed. I was like, I don't need this. Like, I don't need, I'm not mad. Do you get what I mean? That, because I was just very... I didn't stubborn. Yeah, stubborn. I didn't really think things through. So I was like, no. And I don't know how, but then I had another session with her. And from there, we just kept on working. And she just, I feel like she gave me the attention that I needed, but it was so positive. So I remember what happened, like, I was in lesson and there was this teacher and she just really got on my nerves. So, like, I jumped out of my table.
I thought it's out the window.
No, out the window. I'm okay. I jumped out of jumped off the table, the chairs moved back, and I just slammed out. I think I said something rude. And I remember, like, the teacher sent my learning mentor an email and was like, she was this, like, very, like, how can you talk about me like that? And in that situation, I had started to change even more.
Yeah.
But it was just, like, the way she defended me and the way she would teach me, like, you know, okay, how does that... She would put it back to me. How do you see yourself at Adebimpe? And she would always call me Adebimpe. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, self-esteem, like emotional intelligence. Okay, you read this. And I think, to be very honest, I think she saw something in me that I didn't even know I had. Like, for her to be like, you know what, cool, this girl is only like 14. I'm going to teach her about emotional intelligence and go through each thing. And then I remember I went home and I was like, what's this emotional intelligence? And I just started to change and grow. Circles changed, everything changed. And I think, I was like, no, people need this. It's a testimony. It's a testimony, like, honestly. And even behind that, like, I would go to parties a lot. Like,
girl.
I went to so many parties. I was the one who was always setting pace. It was just long, but I feel like I changed through that. But then I noticed, hold on, I've changed. And I feel like she always used to say, it's because you've got your blinders off now. Like, do you know what I mean? There was something that you could only, do you know what I mean?
You can't see at that time,
Now I see and I'm like, nah, there's so many students who may not do what I do outwardly. Their behavior may not be like mad or bad, but they're silent, they're mute. Do you get what I mean? All these students have their different issues. And I feel learning things like self-esteem, self-worth, purpose, personal identity, emotional intelligence can help students elevate in ways you can never expect. So I just felt like, you know what, cool, we're getting the grades, but you're not whole. Do you get what I mean? Like,
as a person, like, you're not where you need to be.
You're not where you need to be. And it's not even for me, it's not trying to raise like Jeff Bezos's or Oprah Winfrey's. For me, it's like every student I come in contact with, like, I need you to feel better and wholesome so you can extract what you need to extract from the education system.
Like, be the best person that you can possibly be, basically. I get that.
And I feel like there's just so many traps in the educational system, especially for BAME students or just students in general that knock those things, that knock your self-esteem, or you're in set 5, set 6. And I notice a lot of schools don't even push those students. You get what I mean? Once you're in those sets, you're in those sets. But okay, cool. You may keep that student in that set, but I'm coming to the school to encourage the student to go higher, to encourage the students to see beyond the barriers.
That have been set for them already.
They can take authority. I'm not waiting for the government. I'm not waiting for the teachers. And I think teachers are doing a phenomenal job. I think people need to support young students more so we don't have all the issues we have now, such as knife crime or even mental health. That some of these things have been triggered from little things that could have been addressed through a normal PHSC session. Do you get what I mean? So that's why I started BBA. I hope that wasn't too long.
That is nuts. Like, I feel like, because you know when people's... In this day and age where everyone's just like starting businesses, platforms for like whatever reason, I feel sometimes like the best way to like separate not the real from the fake necessarily, but from people who have like good intentions and people that are just doing it for the sake of doing it. It's kind of like hearing your story and hearing how you ended up there, because sometimes like that will be like your motivation, and I feel like that kind of motivation like determines your longevity and like how much effort you're gonna put into that. Like for me personally, I won't say it was that like maybe I don't know how far back you want to go, child.
Come on, I'm listening.
No, because you know what, we could actually like be here forever. But I feel like in terms of even starting like this kind of platform, it generally like with me, it wasn't. There was like other things that had happened, but it was a case of people telling me, oh, by the way, like I can see this in you. Can you like start it? I really liked what you said in this situation. Why don't you start a podcast? Why don't you start? The idea, I remember the first time, fun fact, the first time someone told me to start a podcast, I'd never even heard of a podcast.
Wow.
Like, that's when people just like, when drop, like, oh yeah, like I want to come on your channel, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm just like, okay, cool, good for you. But I don't think, like, you see the end result. Now, when this started, I had no, like, before it started, I had no clue, like, what I was doing at all.
I know.
And then it was a case of like people be like, yeah, you should do that, because I was more into like interviewing, presenting, that kind of thing, and also quite like academic as well. But it was just a case of
academic. We'll tell them later.
Oh, we'll tell them about that later. But I think that's just like side note. The academic thing, I was always, I think, I don't know if it's an African parent type of thing, but my mum's thing was never like to push into your head, you should be proud of like how pretty you are, or you should be proud of you having this, you should be proud of having that. Like her thing was always, when it was like when I was young, you're so clever. So naturally I've always grown up thinking I was clever.
You're smart,
Like you can tell me you could call me ugly today, I'll be like, okay, cool. But if you were to attack my intelligence, I'll take that so personally. Like I take that so personally, because that's what was drilled into me, like from very young. So that was always kind of like what I placed importance on. And then how that kind of like bounced back is like with the podcast, I was just like, do you know what, I don't want it to be a thing. There's so much I can do to like in terms of entertainment, because low-key I feel like my podcast is kind of like, it's serious in a sense, like there's obviously like banter here and there depending on like who comes on and stuff like that and what we're talking about, but generally I feel like outside of this, I'll be a clown. But when it comes, I didn't want it to be, I'm like, there's so many other podcasts you can watch if you want to clown and like be entertained. And I love them to death. Like I love them all.
But there's
a
purpose.
There has to be something that, as well as you like being entertained and being like, oh, like her makeup looks cute. Like you need to take something from it. Do you get what I mean?
Definitely.
And that's always today. Yeah, that was like always the intention. And I feel like that's kind of like the direction it's going. Ain't nobody